This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience.
Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to my channel. I have some disconcerting news, information to share with you. It's regarding Chanel. There's no beating around the bush about it and making it sound like, hi everybody, welcome back. It's kind of really sad. This is a topic, I've been thinking about this for a while now, and it's mind-boggling. It is an abnormal anomaly when it comes to Chanel, and we're going to be talking Chanel bags. We're going to be talking the timeless classics, in particular the smalls and the mediums. Oh boy. All right, so this is the timeless classic small, purchased in a Chanel boutique in 2015. Observe it. It has a typical trait, characteristic to the timeless classic small. It has had this trait since the small exists or was brought into existence. What is this trait? Well, to find out, subscribe to my channel here on YouTube and thumb up this video thus far if you're liking it thus far. So subscribe to my channel and push the join button next to the subscription button. Become a member today, gain access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, superdacob all spelled together on Patreon. Join me over there for extra perks as well. Thank you to all my patrons and members who have already pledged. Without you, the Fashion Bunker wouldn't be here. And thank you to all my co-chatters and co-reviewers in the chats happening live right now as we speak. I live stream every Saturday. You can join my live streams every Saturday. Everybody's invited. All of these videos that you see now are recorded live on Saturday. So all my co-chatters are with me here. So you guys, we're back to Chanel. So you've had a minute time to think about what is the characteristic trait. Black Noise guessed it, the incomplete diamonds. Orsi says discontinued. No, it's not discontinued. The small is still healthy and in production. Gwen says it's only made in Italy. No. Black Noise guessed. It's the incomplete diamonds. So this is a characteristical trait of the small. These two corners here, front panel, they don't have a stitch here and here. This is not a flaw. This is the DNA of this bag. It's what makes it so special and unique. Black Noise watches my videos. I've been saying this in my other videos. You know exactly. Well done, well done. And the back panel is different because it's not a panel. Actually, the back side is, it curves. The back panel curves into the front flap. So we're just talking about the front panel here. The back panel does have that stitch right there and there, as it should. It's the front panel that always has this open. And then at the top here, you have that cross stitch. Now we're going to call this the cross stitch. It's lacking a stitch here, and it's lacking a stitch here. Now, this is the caviar version of the small, so it has also a running stitch through the border here. Let me zoom in. So before I get to it, I do not own a double flap medium, okay? But here are pictures I'm going to show you now that are taken from the Chanel website, Chanel's own website. These images are available today, as of now, when I'm filming. I'm going to show you the medium as well. Now, the medium, I'm going to show you on my small for just to explain what we're going to be seeing on photos. The medium has the reverse game. This is how you can always immediately from photos, you could until now, it's one of the secrets of knowing what size of bag you're looking at. The medium, double classic Chanel, double flap timeless classic Chanel bag, whether it be in caviar or in lambskin, always has at the edges here and here of the front top flap, the medium has the open quilting, the unfinished diamond. So the medium is going to lack that cross stitch on the front flap. The small is going to lack the cross stitch at the bottom. So just to show you what I mean, I'm going to show you what Chanel shows on their own website as of now. Let me blend it in. Oh, this not. Okay, so you see what I'm talking about. You see the corner, which would be this corner and this corner. Right there, they have that open stitch, and also up there. Let me show you the next image. Same size bag. Here you see the stitch even better. This is a medium, timeless classic, double flap in a seasonal colorway and seasonal hardware. Also, the medium has that open stitch. I call it it's missing the cross stitch on the upper flap. However, it does have all its stitches on the bottom panel, bottom front left and right panel, as opposed to the small. So the small has this cross stitch missing at the bottom. The medium has it missing at the top. Dixie says, yes, just looked at my medium. Dixie Smitherman comments in the chats. Yes, just looked at my medium. Doesn't have the stitch at the top, but does at the bottom. Correct. This is how it should be. Let me show you the next picture. This is, you guys, what size bag are we looking at here? This is a timeless classic double flap, white caviar with, I want to say light gold hardware, maybe it's silver hardware, I can't really see from here, but is it a small or a medium? What do you guys think? Tell me in the chats. Is this, May says it's a medium. Correct. 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 This is a medium. This is correct. So it's easy. Once you know these little details, it's easy. And these are characteristical to these bags. They're consistent throughout time. It's not a flaw. It's a defining character of the bag. It's also one of the traits of the bag that also helps to identify whether or not they're fake or not. For example, let me show you the next bag. This is a double flap, leather, timeless classic. What size is this? Any guesses? What size is this? I'm waiting for the chats. Let's see. I'm Louis says, I feel like I'm at school. No, but it's important to press on this issue. No, it's not. A black noise says jumbo. No. This is not a jumbo. No, it's not, Donnie. It's not a small. Sidonie is correct. This is a medium. This is a size medium because again, we have those two cross stitches missing at the top. This is a medium. So we've seen 4 mediums. All 4 of these mediums in these colorways are listed as of now, as we're filming now in July, late July 2021. These 4 are listed on the Chanel website. Okay, now let me move on to the next image. Here we have the cross stitch up there. We're lacking a cross stitch here and there. So what size is this? This is actually, I can tell you this is exactly, Happy Days and Sidonie both guessed it's a small. This is exactly the bag I have here. Gold hardware. This is a size small. In caviar leather double flap, it's to die for. It is my favorite of all of the sizes and materials. And we have it here as well. Let me show you the next image. Again, we have that cross stitch missing down there. This would be the lambskin version of the size small. Okay, now let me show you, I don't know if one more pic. Okay, so this is Chanel just released this one. This is a brand new version of the timeless classic with their brassy, gingery gold, whatever you want to call it. Also taken from the Chanel website picture. This is an interesting picture because it shows us the most up-to-date Chanel bag because this hardware is brand new color hardware. We haven't had this hardware in the past. This is brand new hardware. And yet, as proof that it's a brand new bag for Chanel, they're still showing us the lacking cross stitch at the bottom panel. So this is also a size small. And in fact, if you go to the Chanel website now, you're going to see this one listed as a small. If you go now, meaning now, July 2021. All right, now that's it for the photos that I wanted to show you on the screen. So far, so good. Super easy. Lacking cross stitch bottom is a small. Lacking cross stitch at the top panel is a medium. Okay, well, it already started weeks ago, but a couple of days ago, it became very clear to me that something is wrong. And I watched, as one does, YouTube videos on, YouTubers that love Chanel, just like I do, showing off their bags. I'm not going to tell you from which video. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of videos that have this. But here is a close-up shot of, well, what do you think this is? This is the bottom corner of a bag. This is the bottom corner, right? Front panel. So what size is this? It has a cross stitch. This should be a medium. But no, it's a small. This is a small with a cross stitch. And I'm like, here's a little detail that I just explained it to you. That's what I mean by cross stitch, because it has one stitch that goes down there, and then it has that kind of crossing stitch on top. So it forms like a little cross. Okay, so this person has a Tiffany blue small with a cross stitch at the front panel. I'm like, wait a minute. I've never seen a Chanel small with that. That same person went into a Chanel store and was looking at a black Timeless Classic double flap small. And here's a close-up of that bag. And in fact, in the Chanel boutique, the bag that this person was looking at had that bottom corner missing the cross stitch. To explain it to you, it's just that one line. It doesn't have the crossing it. And then that person put the bags side by side and they're the same size. I thought to myself, wait a minute, maybe this person made a mistake and this person has the medium instead of a small, but thinks it's a small, but then put aside this one, it's a small. The Tiffany blue is a small as well. So at this point, I start thinking, oh my gosh, this person doesn't know that they have a fake. Well, now I'm going to show you a selection of photos that I found online. Mind you, this is all taken from internet, Instagram, I've cropped out as much as I could of the photos because I don't want anybody being like, oh my God, I have a fake bag or not a fake bag. Because we're just, to be very clear, this is an anomaly. We're not sure what this is, but here are some photos that shops, private people, all sorts of places on the internet posted these photos that I'm going to show you now. And we're going to see a couple of things. First of all, here's a bag. What size is this? What size is this, you guys? What would you say? What size is this? You would think at first glance, oh, it's medium because it has the cross stitch at the bottom, but it doesn't have the lacking cross stitch at the top. This is a size small. It's a small with a cross stitch at the bottom. Huh. Okay. Here's another post somewhere from the internet. I've cropped out all the sides. So what sizes are these? This is a bag on top of bag. Let me zoom it in maybe. Oh no, if I zoom it in, then you can't see the corners. So what two sizes do we have here? Correct. Happy Days, Jessie, everybody says medium. Yep. This one, I'm like, okay, these are mediums. Yep. Oh, but then I see this post. And let me zoom it in. And now what do we have? Now we have the missing cross stitch on the yellow one, but we have the cross stitch on the white one, and they're both a size small. So I start thinking, did Chanel change the way they're stitching? From which year or season are these bags? Are these bags manufactured in a particular year when the stitching changed? Let me go immediately to the Chanel website and see how the smalls are photographed now. I've shown you the photos at the beginning of this video. Those are the current available smalls and mediums on the Chanel website as of now. They're very clear on the consistency of the lack of the cross stitch. We haven't seen one official photo from Chanel as of now that has that cross stitch on the small or the cross stitch on the medium at the top flap. So this is an interesting one because, again, we have another post, yellow and white. Also, one has the cross stitch, one doesn't. They're both size small. This, for example, this Tiffany blue is a size medium and it's made the way it should be, because at one point I thought to myself, maybe the Tiffany blues are the ones that have the anomaly. So I started researching Tiffany blues in different materials. The medium, for example, is done right. The medium has the missing cross stitch at the top. It has it at the bottom. Then I found a Tiffany blue small. A Tiffany blue small that, you see, it doesn't have the cross stitch at the bottom. So it's not like the Tiffany blue small was manufactured only with the cross stitch. Then I started talking also to my friend Laura, and we were like debating, well, maybe it's a Tiffany's blue, maybe it's a 20C. And I thought to myself, maybe because we just went into lockdown for the, right around the cruise collection, Chanel cruise collection 2020. Maybe the manufacturing was closed down. They couldn't deliver all of the products that they wanted to. Maybe they had to source out a factory that actually could open in a country where they were allowed to open. And so they didn't get the right template for these bags. So they manufactured them with a kind of just scaling down or scaling up the quilting, which would be tremendous lack of quality control if you allow that to pass, because that's not how your bags are made. So we do have a Tiffany blue here that small, that doesn't have that stitch. That's properly made. There's more smalls. I'm looking at all of them. And then I contacted a friend of mine that I know that works at Chanel, and I said, hey, please, could you help me out here? Could you please look, if you can, if you have the time, in your stock room, and could you please see if you have a couple of size small Timeless Classic double flaps, how do their edges look like? Could you please let me know? My friend was so kind enough to photograph them for me in the Chanel boutique from the stockroom. Now, check this out. We have a selection of smalls, 4 of them I'm going to show you now, all photographed with their little tiny butts peeking out. They're super adorable, by the way. Loving the brown color. And this is what is currently available in this one particular Chanel boutique. Let me zoom it in. These are all 4 lambskin leathers, size small, available now. Look at the stitch. They're missing the cross stitch because that's how Chanel makes their size small. That's the small size of the double flap. All of them are like that. Here's on the sales floor more examples of 3 small double flaps. All of them are missing the cross stitch at the bottom panel. Here is the black one on the sales floor, size small. Also missing at the bottom that cross. By the way, this lambskin shines like butter. Ah, I can smell it through the screen. And then my friend also managed to find a 20C, because I said, hey, maybe it has to do with 20C. And so my friend went on the search for 20C in the boutique and could find only one in a size medium. Now, at this point, I've already found also examples of medium double flaps that have a cross stitch on the top flap, which was also disconcerting to me. But those were more rare than the smalls with the extra cross stitch at the bottom. So my friend said, all I could find from the 20C in our boutique is a medium. And I said, oh, well, let's give it a go. Let's see, can I please see a photo? And let's see if the medium has, hold on. I'm gonna show you the medium now. And I said, let's see if the medium maybe has that cross stitch. So maybe there was some sort of shift in production of some sorts. I mean, at this point, you know, I'm just trying to understand here, because there's like a flood of smalls with the cross stitch at the bottom. I've been asking a couple of people, some people have been reporting to me that they have purchased in the boutique size small with the cross stitch. And then I asked, well, were those return bags? Is somebody buying the authentic ones and then bringing back the fake one? You know, the ones with the, we don't know if they're fake or not, but why is Chanel advertising only the actual ones lacking the cross stitch on their website? This is the medium from 20C that I was sent. You see how it's missing the cross stitch at the back. Tina Yap just says, my Tiffany blue small classic flap has the stitches too. I purchased it from the Chanel boutique too. Right. A lot of people have purchased it from the boutique and they have that stitch. But this is my point. A luxury brand needs consistency in the quality of their bags. Now, as an example, I'm going to state the wallet on chain. You're going to say, but Dacob, but they changed the clips on the wallet on chain. They turned them into magnets at a certain point. And I'm going to tell you, yes, of course, there is a natural evolution to the design of their bags. And that is okay, meaning the wallet on chain that I bought back in 2015 still has the little clip closure. You kind of, you know, clip it, you pin it in and it's closed. The zipper pull is that metal black zipper pull that's kind of aggressive to the leather. They've updated the quality of the wallet on chain, and after a certain point, they only started producing wallets on chain with the magnetic closure and with the better, more flat zipper pull. That's an update in the design of the product. After the update has been done, they only continued producing them consequently in that new format. This situation we have here with this stitch is a different story because, again, Chanel online officially advertise only the missing cross stitch. They only show their bags as such. But then in the boutiques, people have been purchasing in the past year or two the ones with the cross stitch. So either somebody bought the authentic ones and then the next day changed their mind and brought back the fake ones, or, which would be terrible, which would mean that the market is flooded with them. Or if those cross-stitch versions are also authentic, then it's actually maybe even worse, because that would mean that Chanel is actually, according to however they feel like it, changing up things, not having consistency, not having one consistent design throughout, which is terrible. A luxury brand needs to have consistency. You need to know that when you're churning out so much money for a product, that you're going to get something that it's like, I know to people who are not really accustomed with these bags and don't really care about it, you probably won't even watch this video. But if you do watch this video and now your reaction is like, who cares? You're in the wrong place here. And let me tell you why, for me, this is important. You could say this is just a crazy, geeky thing. To me, it's very important because it's like comparatively similar to going to a restaurant where, you know, Chanel is a corporation. It's a big brand. It's mass produced. Whether or not they want to sell it to you as a limited edition thing, that's marketing. Still, these bags are produced in a big scale. So it's like McDonald's, okay, with their hamburgers. Could you imagine ordering a Big Mac? And you know you're going to get the 2 patties, the 3 breads, and that's what it is. And you go to one McDonald's, and all of a sudden that McDonald's doesn't give you 2 patties, gives you 1 patty with the 3 breads. You're going to be, well, wait a minute. That's not your standard. They're going to say, well, it's still a hamburger. It's still a hamburger. It's still called a Big Mac. I mean, I know you can't really compare because if you're missing a whole patty, you're missing nutritional value there. Here, you're not missing nutritional value because a stitch is missing, but the consistency is missing. And the consistency of a luxury brand is the nutritional value of said luxury brand. You want to be able to also, what they advertise on their website, and I've shown you all the smalls in leather that they advertise on their website, Timeless Classics double flaps, they all have the single stitch, not the cross stitch. So that's what they advertise. Then why are they selling the ones with the cross stitch from time to time? What does this mean? I have heard that Chanel has lost the connection to their, like they've lost one of the major factories that used to produce for them the bags in Italy, and they had to find some solution, some sourcing out somewhere else to do so, to do those bags. If they found a solution or not yet, I do not know. But the troublesome thing is, if you find a factory to source out this product, you send them the templates, you send them the blueprint of what this bag is. If you care. If you don't care, you might just send them the size jumbo, and you could say, hey, just scale it down or up according to what size needs to be produced. Instead of sending the templates for every bag, how it needs to be done one-to-one. You have very strict criteria, don't you, Chanel? I mean, this is luxury at the end of the day. So I'm thinking maybe during the Corona period when the pandemic was happening, it still is, by the way, but when it was like really bad, maybe they had to source out more to China. And maybe China, maybe allegedly, China then did the panels of leather. China produced the panels, stitched them, and sent them over to, say, France or Italy. And then France and Italy assembled the bags with what they were sent from another country where things were still operational despite the pandemic. That could be a reason. But then again, we have examples of 20C bags that are produced without the cross stitch as well. So it's not that they were all made, I want to say wrong, but it's not like they were all made with these variations in the structure of the bag. That kind of, the bag is not that bag anymore. And also I thought to myself, well, maybe they just switched like they did with the wallet on chain. Once they added the magnetic closure, they're just going to start making all of the bags like that. So I thought once they switched to the cross stitch, all of the smalls are going to be made with the cross stitch. But that's not true, because after 20C or 21C, whatever, after 20C, there are newer bags than 20C that are made exactly like they should be without the cross stitch. So it's not like Chanel just changed it into, now all of them are going to be made with a cross stitch, done. No, because we see now the photos that have been sent from a Chanel boutique yesterday, none of them have the cross stitch. Every single bag shown on the Chanel website today doesn't have the cross stitch, size small. So what is happening here? My brain has been, I mean, listen, I do not know what this means. This either means that there's a flooding of fakes out there and somebody very clever managed to buy the real one, bring back the fake, and, you know, done deal done. Or Chanel just doesn't care about these things and is sourcing out to factories that are kind of doing lower quality, because this is a quality control issue in my opinion. Also because in the future, how is this going to help you authenticate your bag? The second I see a cross stitch, I don't want it. I don't want that small, because to me, the small is this. It's been this for decades. It's been like this for decades. So, and it's still like this today because Chanel advertises this as their small. So what am I supposed to do as a customer at this point? Am I supposed to just take it and say like, oh, well, okay, probably the cross stitch was made in some factory that didn't know really how to do it, according to the design blueprint standard, the architecture of this bag. So it's fine for me. Because at one point I also thought, well, maybe this is just a seasonal bag issue. Maybe it's just an issue of the caviar leather, you know, the cheaper version of caviar leather that they use for their seasonal bags. No, it was also done on lambskin. But then I also had examples of the cheaper version. And it's not that it's cheaper, but this is kind of the classic caviar with the bigger grain, pebbly grain caviar, right? I've seen the tinier grain caviar also done with the proper lack of stitch, but also with the extra stitch. So I've seen both versions. Now, the fact that Chanel doesn't really have consistency in their production is really irritating, and it's been there for a long time. And I'm talking, you know, Chanel sales associates are going to look at you like you're crazy if you bring this up to them. They're going to think, you know, because they can sell if you make too many questions and you seem to be a complicated customer, they're just going to sell to somebody who doesn't ask questions. They don't care. They don't need to struggle to sell these bags because the bags sell themselves, basically. Okay, we know Chanel, but still, that doesn't mean that we have to be made idiots as if like it doesn't matter. Oh, you're so crazy to even think that this matters. It matters. If it matters to you as a brand that we keep spending so much money after every price increase for these bags, then to us, at least give us consistency. If you're not delivering the quality of the leather of this, at least give us the consistency in how the freaking thing is tailored and designed. Could you please? Now, other inconsistencies that are classic for these bags, the back pocket, the Mona Lisa smile. This drives me nuts since many years, okay? And this is something I've seen in the Chanel boutique many a time because I always look at the back pockets of these little babies. So the one I have here from 2015, the interior of the Mona Lisa pocket is burgundy, believe it or not. Okay. You can't really see because it's so dark, but the lining of the pocket inside is burgundy. Now you can see that it's, can you see that it's burgundy, you guys? It's burgundy, trust me. I just, but there's a ton of these bags where the interior is black instead of burgundy. And it feels like they just changed that according to whatever leather they have left over. I'm like, you're changing this according to whatever leather you have left over? What is this? An outlet? Why am I spending $6+ on this bag if I can't get consistency? So maybe with the interior pocket being a certain color, rather, even though the interior of the bag is always burgundy, we have this burgundy inside. Of course, in the early 90s, 80s, it was black, and then it went to burgundy, but now it's all burgundy. We have always the burgundy in here. So they also have the burgundy back here. Makes total sense. Well, no, they keep the burgundy in here. Some of them have the black back here. I'm talking about the black caviar. Then I've noticed, oh, this one is made in France. The ones I've seen made in Italy have the interior black. And I thought, oh, well, all the made in Italy then have the black. Then that's the case. But then no, then I saw made in Italy that had the burgundy in the back pocket. Then I thought at one point, does it have to do with lambskin versus caviar? No. I've seen lambskin with the black lambskin with the interior burgundy, black lambskin with the interior black. So that's also an inconsistency that really irks me, but it's lesser visible than the actual stitch. So are they sourcing out to certain, is there one particular factory that Chanel from time to time works with that does this mistake, but then nobody in quality control kind of acknowledges this as a mistake because to them it's like, well, doesn't matter. It's the shape of the bag, that's the correct shape. It's sturdy enough. It's the quality of the bag that it's supposed to be. We're selling it. We don't care about that extra stitch. We didn't even notice it. I mean, that's not the way you do business. It's just not. And I know for a fact, especially after the last price increase, the bags now cost double of what I paid for it. I sure as hell ain't going to buy one that has a cross stitch. Because that cross stitch is going to mean to me there's a whole other can of worms connected to that bag. It's not been made in France, for sure not in your main factory in France, because they've been making the bags like this for decades. You don't just like that change it for a batch of bags all of a sudden. Even though, again, I double checked, the same batch of bags from the same season, some had the cross stitch, some didn't in the size small. Same color, same leather, double flap timeless classic. So you can't say the whole batch was made with the cross. No, I even checked that. Like it's a whole puzzle that I'm trying to solve. And I've been checking all the alternatives, all the variants and variations, all the plausible possible variations to this narrative. I've been checking and checking and rechecking. And every time I stumble upon a new bit of information, I go more cuckoo because I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is also, none of this makes any sense. None of this makes any sense. And, would be great to hear directly from somebody who's responsible for quality control to actually give out a statement about it. They probably won't, because to them, if this sort of information is something that is kind of not good for their image, and how can it be good for their image? Honestly, how can somebody justify this by saying who cares? You can't say who cares. You can only try to bury this problem and make it sound like, oh, the person saying that this is a problem is crazy. Am I crazy? You tell me in the chats. What do you guys think? Daniel says, though, then they will introduce an extra price increase so their profit is not affected by the extra cost. I mean, this is interesting. Anusar says, I need to scroll. Dacob, take this to Chanel before some influencer steals your content. We're doing it now. Anybody can watch now. So it is what it, Anna says, you are not crazy, sweetie. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, Tina says, I paid so much money for these bags. But you guys, I mean, am I overreacting or what? Stephanie says, honestly, this is putting me off even considering Chanel after this. I feel bad about it too. Because Victor says, first I thought you are a little too nerdy, but you are totally right. It shouldn't happen. Of course I'm nerdy. I acknowledge the fact that I'm nerdy. I admit the fact that I'm a total geek when it comes to Chanel, and I love my Chanel to bits. I really do. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even noticed this detail, okay? Now, but it worries me because they've always been made like this, and all of a sudden, a couple of them are made differently. Like, what is Chanel doing? Are they making them in some factory where sketchy stuff is going on? That, you know what I mean? Like, this is like, it's a whole level of things opens up where I think to myself, this isn't about us. Oh, you know, they were in a hurry. Even that is unforgivable. But you know how sometimes it's lopsided. Some of them, the flap is a little bit more down or up, or there's some issue with the bag and you think to yourself, oh, they were a little bit, you know, sloppy. But this is the DNA of the bag has been changed. It's literally like these panels. They have these, Chanel has these, look, you guys, they don't, you might think, oh, they just produce a huge hide of leather. It's printed with this, it's pressed into this shape, heat pressed mostly for the caviar grain, right? And it's a big piece of leather, and then they kind of just quilted, you know, with the matelassé, you know. It's not that easy. I'm going to show you a photo from the Chanel website again, where they showcase how they actually do this. Process. Hold on. You guys. It's like with the pockets, for example. I'm looking through my photos. How they structure sewing together the actual bag. Now this is an example. It's the same process for the 255 as well as for the Timeless Classic. They're all made in the same way, you guys. Hold on. So these are photos from the Chanel website, from their own factory, that showcase to you how every piece is made and how every piece is actually not cut out of a huge piece of leather, but that actually every piece is sewn into that shape. That's how much work goes into it. That's why we're so used to Chanel high prices, to the high quality. So for example, here is the panel and the back pocket. You see, it's not like they cut out. Let me zoom it in. This is, for example, you see how they do the back pocket? They literally first cut it, put it into its shape, then do the sewing of the quilting. There is no mistake. You can't just add a stitch. It's exactly, it's in that blueprint. It has that shape. It's not like you have a huge panel of leather and you just cut out a piece that you need to put on the bag. No, every piece is manufactured. You see, they're all the same. Each and every one of these is done the same. And the Chanel, on their own website, you guys, they state this on their own website. If you scroll down to the bottom of the website and you see their own commitment to quality, they say, the quality of a genuine Chanel accounts for its price. That's a quote from the Chanel website. You can find it right now on their own website. And you see how it look, you guys. Let me zoom this in. This is how much anal detail goes into the quilting, stitching, everything. There is no space for, oh, let me add 2 more stitches. Like, there is no space for that. Unless you don't order a whole hide quilted somewhere else. That comes delivered to your factory, and then you kind of put it in place. Assemble it with what is sent to you from somewhere else. Because if you're doing it in your own factory, you have the exact molds, the exact pattern for everything that has to be done, the way it has to be done, to the minimal detail. And now you're changing the details according to what? A certain amount of a certain batch of a certain bag, because what? You source them out, or are these fakes that are flooding into boutiques somehow, mysteriously? What is going on? I thought I was crazy, but at this point, I'm like, this irks me, you guys. I don't know how to explain it better. I hope I was clear. Ali Soto says, profits over quality and heritage. Yeah, Paris Samaro says, Le Fictre. Me and my boat says, if this is the case, quilting the full piece, then cutting instead of cutting, then quilting, it is so sad. Excellent design is compromised by cost cutting for time as well as money. Yeah, I'm telling you, because what we see in their own photos from their own factory, from their own website, they have these metal cutouts in which every piece of leather is cut, put into place, and then quilted. I mean, it can't be clearer than that. Somebody with the Japanese name, I can't read because it's kanji, says those luxury brands are just fooling us. Better buy super high quality. At least you won't. No. I don't care how much they're fooling us. I'm still not going for that. No. No, then just buy a totally different design. Buy another brand. Don't buy something that looks like this but isn't this. But at this point, this even this isn't this anymore. Now, another issue that I have with the Timeless Classics, I've never had that issue with the 255. At least they make that extra effort with the 255. And that is this interior stitch here. There. And there. There. Okay, I gotta zoom this in. There's a stitch here, and there's a stitch here. And I've mentioned this so often in my videos in my 255 exposed bag. This one, this is a vertical stitch. And whoever in the factory has to do this by hand. After this is done, it needs, actually before this is done, you already have to pre-prepare the horizontal stitch as well on top. That goes on top of the vertical stitch to make it more elegant. This is a beautiful haute couture detail touch of this bag. They don't do it on the Timeless Classics almost ever. In fact, this one doesn't have it, but the 255 still has it. Both of my side, 226 and 225, both have it. It's a sign that they did something really by hand. And it is the most important stitch of the bag because it holds the back panel. You see this little indentation here? This is the stitch. And back here, right there and there. This is the stitch that holds the back panel to the front panel, to there. Like this is a stitch that runs through the entire bag and holds it together. This is also the reason why you should never, ever, even in your wildest dreams, think that between this inner flap and the top flap, that this space in here is a pocket. It ain't a pocket. Don't ever use it. This place here, as much as you can put your whole hand in there, don't ever use it. It is not a pocket. It was not made to be a pocket. It was not meant to be a pocket. It is literally this panel and the interior bag, the panel of this bag, sewn together by only 2 stitches. Only 2 stitches. But then the bitches put stuff in between the 2 stitches, stress out the bag here, and of course then you have people going back to Chanel, oh, my stitch came undone, the quality isn't good. No, boo-boo. The stitch came undone because you kept putting stuff in between there. You're not supposed to. It's stressing the bag. The bag is structurally not made to put stuff in there. That's not a pocket. The only reason why they didn't stitch that thing closed is because it would look really ugly to have a stitch there because it would kind of run through the bag. Obviously, they didn't do that. So just a word of caution. But anyway, that stitch, those 2 stitches that hold the whole structure of the bag together should have an extra horizontal stitch added. They make too many of these to have the time to really do that anymore. The 255s, they still do that. But guess what? The 255s don't sell as much as these. They make way less of them. Hence, we're back to the big issue at hand, overproduction. And I understand why they're raising prices. They also don't want to oversell these bags because the more they sell them and the more they got to produce them, and the more they produce them, the lower the quality is going to be. So by raising the prices, they also really try to counter overflooding the market. I understand the process from a marketing point of view, from a quality point. I understand the process of price increases from many different points of view, from the good ones and the bad ones. There's, of course, way more bad ones than good ones, but still, nevertheless, back to the topic at hand, that cross stitch here and here, and for the mediums in some cases, the cross stitch there and there, this is very concerning to me. Anyway, let me get to some last comments from you, chats from you, and I'm looking forward, thumb up this video, you guys, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you in the comment section down below what your experience is with these bags as well, with the smalls, with your cross stitches, where you bought yours, how did you get it, all that. The more information we have, and the more we can build up concrete kind of I want to say like a folder or archive of exactly from which season, what bag, which colorway, how many of them are out there in circulation with these extra stitches. Tina says to Stephanie, I purchased a month ago. I think you can't return after 14 days. Meredith says, I thought that was the love letter pocket. So in my head, I can put flat paper the size of a letter in there. I'll stop doing that. Don't do that, Meredith. They sell you the love letter pocket as this. This zipper here is what they sell you as the love pocket, not this thing back there. Okay. So well, I know some of you are going to have the stitches, and it doesn't mean they're not authentic. Yeah, BB says, oh my God, so many videos said it was a pocket. Yeah, so many videos say like Oompa Loompa Lemmings. They just copy and paste what they hear other influencers say. That doesn't mean that everything you hear on the internet is true. And that doesn't mean, you know, that everything people say out there actually is true. The architecture of bags, says me and my boat. Those tiny structural stitches. Love it. Yeah, that's a title for a movie, right? Oh, for a book. But I'm telling you, don't like start crying because you got a stitch. That it doesn't mean that your bag ain't authentic. I just want to know why. I want to know why Chanel did that. Why do they just change it occasionally, but never advertise it? Their website never shows it. All the photos from the boutique I received yesterday, not one single bag has that issue, has that cross stitch. Natasha Estrada says, classic flaps are almost exclusively machine made with computerized CNC sewing machines, almost no hand finishing. Well, in that case, isn't it even more strange that all of a sudden just a couple of them have a different stitch? Have an extra, if they're all computer made, you program that shit. Okay, you program that computer to stitch it like this. Done. The computer doesn't decide on its own, oh, you know what, for 4 bags, let me do the extra stitch. Looks better. No. Somebody had to actually process it, activate it, plan it, do it that way. Exactly. Even camellia is not a camellia anymore, says Orsi. Shop Queen, oh, Tina says, what should I do? There's nothing. We just got to do more research. There's nothing we can do. That's why I warned you before I started filming this video. This is going to be a Pandora's box. We're opening a freaking Pandora's box right now. Because either way we put this, we need an explanation. What are they, you know, are these replicas running around? Or is this Chanel just cheaping out and going like sourcing out to other factories, and then the factories did an oopsie because Chanel didn't send them the proper templates? I don't see any other reason. Even if they're authentic bags, still, why aren't they consistent to the quality that Chanel should deliver? Tom says it's about money. Quilting full hides and then cutting out is cheaper to manufacture. Lily Bonfi says, yes, they quilted the leather before cutting. Candy Fluff says, this is fashion content, people. Thank you, Candy Fluff. Yeah, Donnie says, also looks like they may be using pre-quilted pieces to catch up with demand. Seems like. The CC Spy says, I really don't know what to think anymore. This is so sad. I hope someone from Chanel clarifies. Debbie says they must have some kind of answer to this. It isn't okay. I mean, I'm sure the cheapest way to answer this would be for them to say they're both authentic. We decide to swap from time to time. You know, they could even tell you, well, this is also for us to be able to prove authenticity because that batch was made with that stitch so that we in the future. But even there, I'm like, no, boo-boo, because we've seen the same colorway, same material, same collection, same batch, not batch code, but from the same batch. A few have the stitch, a few don't. Both either saying made in France or made in Italy, like, you know, that's an easy answer. PR is never going to give you an answer. All of these corporate companies are specialized in not giving you the answer. They're specialized in in replying to your request, but they're specialized within that reply, they make you feel like an idiot because they write blah, 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 idiot, blah, 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 stupid fool, blah, 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 baboon, buffoon, blah, 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 blah. And they never give you an answer. You ask a very specific question. Most of the time, corporate never gives you a specific answer. They're specialized in remaining vague. The more vague they remain, and the less suable they are. Bottom line. Meredith says, I can see how distressing this is for you, Dacob. Chanel owe you compensation for causing you this stress and all your research. I mean, I don't need, no, I'm sad. You know, this didn't cause me like stress or anything. I mean, I got my bag when that was not an issue. I got my bag from the Chanel boutique in 2015. Mine is done the way it's been done for decades. So, but it's a weird thing to think that a brand just kind of switches stuff up randomly because it's cheaper for them, but then has 2 price increases a year. How the hell does that make any sense? And how at what point do we wake up and say this is not justifiable anymore? Like, when do we wake up and say, no, you're pushing it to a point now where it doesn't even really matter. At this point, you're right, whoever commented and said, but at this point, just buy a fake. It doesn't matter because the authentic one can't stay consistent with its own quality and structure. So why even buy it then? Like, that's a legitimate question. I mean, I'm not saying it, I'm asking it. It's a freaking question. So how can you do it? Like, I don't get it. If they can't keep consistency, how can they expect you to be able to say, I bought this at Chanel, you know, I have the bill. I'm like, okay, well, somebody might have returned a fake one. Like, how do we know anymore? We don't know. This is so frustrating. BB says, this is not going to end well for Chanel. This might just cause a price drop or a slower increase. I don't know what it's going to cause. I just hope that they stay consistent because that's all we actually want. Quality, consistency. Is it so hard? I mean, you're asking 15% more for these bags as of a month ago. So what are we getting for the extra 15%? Can I just like a kick in the butt? I don't get it. Not everybody's into the painful, sexy stuff. Not everybody's into S&M, Chanel. Not everybody is. Most of your clients are, because you gotta be into pain to churn out the money for this stuff at this point. You gotta be into pain. BB says, watch all the people who know they bought fakes walk confidently in store to exchange their bag. BB, we don't know if these are fake or not. That's the point. That's the saddest part about all of this, is that we have no point of reference anymore to help us understand what is authentic anymore. This is the problem. That we don't, you know, we don't have that reference anymore. Yes, but no says, you're noticing this detail highlights your professional level knowledge of the brand. It's not crazy. It's connoisseurship, in fact. Thank you so much, Yes, but no. Thank you. Much appreciated. Orsi says, I understand that you cannot imagine it, but I can totally imagine it, that everything is made in China, and just because it's super expensive doesn't even mean the quality is immaculate. Orsi, I understand this. I can imagine this very well. I work in fashion. Don't ever forget, I work in fashion. I come from marketing. I know exactly what is happening behind the scenes. Nevertheless, just because something is made in China doesn't mean it's bad quality, first of all. Second of all, you can maintain consistency even if you produce in China. But we have no maintenance of consistency here. And I repeat, it's not like with the wallet and chain. Once they swapped from the clip closure to the magnetic closure, it's a different bag in part structurally, but now it's only produced that way. No, here it's like going shifting back and forth. Now, you know, oh, now we got that batch of hides sent in from that factory. Oh, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, okay, let's do those. You guys, just to prove to you that this is not... We were talking about cheapening out. First, you have a hide, you quilt it, then you cut it into the shape you need it. Okay, that would be the cheap cop-out. That's what I think happened with the cross stitches. Now, let me show you a close-up taken by my friend in the Chanel boutique just the other day. So we get to see, actually, that these stitches... These panels, they are quilted in that shape. They're not first quilted, then cut into that shape. They're quilted, first they're cut, then quilted. Why do I, the proof is in the pudding. Look where the stitch ends. This is from the Chanel boutique, okay? Look, we gotta zoom this in. You see, that stitch doesn't go in underneath the leg because it ends there. That panel has been quilted and then that panel has been cut into the shape it needs to be cut. It's been quilted, sewn, stitched properly, the stitch ends there as per program. It has to end there. It's not like it continues into the leather panel underneath the bag and then it's been, you see, the same here, the same with the brown one. Let me zoom it in. You see what I mean? This, it was quilted into that shape. Same with the blue one. Same, I mean, with the green one. Same with the blue one. You don't see it because it's a bit more far away and then it's not focused anymore. And the same with the orange one. But then we have the version with the cross stitch. Well, there looks very much to me like we had a big panel quilted and then cut. So yes, you're saving time and money, Chanel. That's what it seems to me. Are they authentic? Seems to be. But who knows at this point? Seems like you don't care, Chanel, so why should we? So, but anyway, so maybe then with the cross-stitch versions should cost less because obviously it costs you less to manufacture. So why should we be paying the same price for those as we are for these? Why should we? I'm going to leave it at that. Stephanie says, this is unacceptable at the prices they're asking for. How can they justify these high prices by saying that it's because of their superior quality? Arrogance. Arrogance and thinking like you're at the top of the world. No matter what you do, you're untouchable. Rose Vidalita says, Dacob is the king of Chanel. Oh, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here. I authentically love the brand. I really wanted to do well, but this ain't it. And I'm worried. So I'm expressing my worry with y'all. Diana says, no, you are not overreacting at all. A bag that costs that much has to be perfect. Would you buy a Rolls Royce or a Bentley if it was less than perfect? I would never buy a car, but that's a whole other point. But yeah, I get your point. Stephanie says, no, you're not overreacting. Antonico says, no, I bet it's quality control issue. Definitely not crazy. Yeah. BB says they should thank you the extra mile. They should thank you for going the extra mile. They're probably just going to want to sue instead. Like, hey, take that content offline. Defamation. You know, I'm like, girl, you already get all the money I earn. I anyway give to you, Chanel, because I love what you do. Despite all the shenanigans that there's always drama connected to Chanel, I still spend a lot of money there because I'm crazy, because I also like Coco so much. So for me, there's a memory of her, but that's a whole other can of worms, isn't it? So it would be really funny. Could you imagine Chanel suing me? I'm like, you already got all my money. So what do you want, my skin on top of it? Yeah, if you ever see this color bag and I disappear, you're gonna know they took my skin and quilted my skin to make a small double flap. They should be so lucky. Rose Vidalita says, gaslighting the consumer is such a common thing that corporations do. It's sick. Yeah, with their answer, with the corporate answers to questions. Oh my God, that irritates me. Tina Yap says, I paid so much money for these bags. Again, you can ask at the boutique. They're just gonna look at you like you're crazy because I'm sure the sales associates didn't even notice this because they don't care. They sell tons of these every day. To them, it's just nothing. You know, you come along and you've noticed this because to you it means something. They're going to look at you like you're crazy. I know. But if enough people come and ask, you know, they're going to look at you because they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to look at me. They're going to think I'm crazy. The first 10, 15 people, they're going to look at us like we're crazy. But then when 50, 60 people come in and say the same thing, then they're going to start taking things seriously. Debbie says they must make a statement. It does matter. They should care about their heritage. I agree, but they might say, well, no, the extra stitch is not part of the heritage. Doesn't mean anything. They could say, you know, just like every time you're in the store, you see a lopsided flap. What does the sales associate tell you? Oh, but they're handmade. How dare you say that it's a mistake? I'm like, well, if they're handmade, then even more so, they should be perfectly done, even though we know most of it is done by machine. Anyway, subscribe to my channel, thumb up this video. I hope you've enjoyed this content. I know this is a Pandora's box that we just opened, and I know it's sad news. I hope you still thumb up the video. Conversation happening in the comments down below. subscribe to my channel, join me on Patreon, become a member today, get access to extra perks. You just saw the credits scrolling. Thank you to all my patrons. You get to be on the credits if you're a patron or a member, so thank you to my patrons and members for pledging. Thanks to you guys, also get to make content like this, because you know, who's gonna want to sponsor me when I go and I speak the truth? So it's only thanks to your support that I get to speak the truth, and I thank you so much for that. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Mwah.